Yeah. So here we'll be now discussing about association rules, the important concepts of association rules, what actually is association rule. So as already discussed in previous sessions, association is nothing but interlinking or understanding the behavior of some customers with respect to some item sets. Okay. So association rule learning is a type of unsupervised learning technique. So you already know what is unsupervised learning, which is like whenever you are not having some proper labels for your data, we call it as unsupervised learning, right? So which checks for the dependency of one data item on another data. So as already mentioned, you will be having some frequent item sets, or the customer will be buying a number of items in a supermarket. So how one item will be having relationship with the other item. So for example, if I buy some milk, how what's the chance of buying some bread? This is what we call it as dependency, right? So the chance of doing something depending on other item is nothing but here it's considered as association rule, and it maps accordingly so that it can be more profitable. So to generate more profits, basically the supermarket and the other vendors will try to apply this association rule concepts in the regular life. Okay, so it tries to find some interesting relations or associations among the variables of data set. So it will be trying to take a sample data set, or it will which are linked to the customer behavior. For example, if I am going to supermarket on every Saturday, I'll be giving whenever I am doing my billing, I'll be trying to give my all my details like phone number and all the purchase items, whatever you are going to buy, those all will be stored in a database. So according to my frequency of visit to some particular store, they'll be trying to provide some offers based on the behavior of my purchases. That is, they are trying to find some relations with respect to my behavior in that store. Okay, so it is based on different rules to discover the interesting relations between variables in the database. So like that, they'll be taking a number of people who are visiting their store, and whenever they are frequently visiting, and if they are not visiting 1 or 2 weeks continuously, they'll be trying to give some offers so that they'll be trying to attract customers to their stores. And also whenever they are coming to that place, they'll be trying to attract them with some competition offers. That is how sales will be improved, and they'll be retaining that customers permanently. Okay, this is how association rule mining is a very important concept in data mining. Okay, so yeah, the association rule learning is one of the very important concepts of machine learning. So we learn it as part of your data mining, but it's however linked to your machine learning concepts. Okay, so it can be applied to concepts such as market basket analysis, which is a immediate application of association rule. So whenever you're talking about association rule concept, the best example what we take is market basket analysis. Okay, yeah. And next application is web usage mining, which we'll be learning in chapter 5 of this syllabus, that is web mining. So at that time, we'll be talking about what actually is this web mining. Okay. So apart from these two, we also have applications of association rules with respect to continuous production in number of stores and all these things. So here, market basket analysis is a technique used by various big retailers to discover the associations between items. So even when we are learning about association rule and a priori concepts, these concepts are applied to market basket analysis only. Okay, so in examination also the question can be asked something like this: explain market basket analysis. So you need to recall that this concept is linked to association rules. So you need to explain market basket analysis with respect to some example. Okay, so now we'll be looking at that example in the next slide. Okay, so now we will be trying to understand this example with respect to the supermarket. As the supermarket, all products that are purchased together are put together. Okay, so here this is the example what we can show for this market basket analysis. Okay, yeah. So here you can see customer one is buying some items into the basket, right? So he's buying everyday milk, bread, and butter. That is the things what customer 1 is taking to his home. Next, customer 2 is also taking cereals with respect to when I compare with unit 1. Sorry, customer 1. So milk, bread, butter, and also cereals are added to that basket. And you can see again customer 3 is purchasing milk, bread, and butter. And similarly, if I take n number of customers, customer n is buying sugar and eggs. This is the behavior of customers in a particular store or about their everyday routine. Okay, so yeah, if a customer buys bread, now I want to find if a customer buys bread, how most likely can also buy butter, eggs, or milk. So which item is frequently brought whenever bread is taken. So from this, you can simply say whenever they are taking bread, they're also taking milk and butter with respect to this bread. This is the combination which is very much sold in that market. Okay, so these products are stored within a shelf or mostly nearby. So whenever they are selling some bread, immediately in that shelf they'll try to keep butter and jam and also milk in that same rack, so that it will be easy for customers to obtain the things whatever they want. And also accordingly they will be, even though if I'm not interested in buying milk at that time, because if they provide some sample offer, definitely we'll be trying to add it into our basket. This is how customers behavior is understood by that supermarket people with respect to this association rule mining. So this is how you need to explain the concept of market basket analysis whenever you are explaining it in your examination. Okay, so yeah, now let's go ahead with the next things related to this association. So now let's try to understand how does association rule mining or rule learning work. What is the concept behind this? So as we all said, it is the interlink between one purchase of one item with the other compared to the other item, right? So if you're buying some item, how another item is like most likely which can be bought. Okay, so association rule mining works on the concept of if and else statements, or we call that if and then statements, such as if A then B. Okay, so here you can see a small representation here with respect to A and B. A is talking about if and B is talking about then. So how likely if a person is buying A will also buy B? How likely if a person is buying B is also buying A? This is how there will be some interlink between some different item set. Okay, so association rules are if-then statements that help to show the probability of relationships between data items. So you need to take this statement in your notes also, guys, because whenever a question is asked for 2 marks about what are association rules, explain it briefly. So you can explain this slide. So it talks about if-then statements that help to show the probability of relationships between different data items. So whenever you are having some large transactions data, so if you want to identify the behavior of various item set, we definitely go for association rules. Okay, so association rule mining has a number of applications and is widely used to help or discover sales correlations in transactions data or in medical data set. So as we already said, not only this transactions data set of supermarket, it also has application in medical and many other areas where there is dependency of a number of items. So whenever there is dependency of one item with respect to other item, we go for this association rule mining. Okay, so I hope everybody need to note this point in your notes also, so that this will be helpful for you to answer the 2 mark questions in unit 2. Okay, so yeah, talking about how does this work. So here you can see in the representation, if A, then it implies then B. So here if element is called antecedent and then statement is called as consequent. So what if some item is bought, so how likely we can go for the next item. So these types of relationships where we can find out some associations or relation between 2 items is known as a single cardinality. So please note this representation or indication in examinations. These types of what you call words also can be asked. Explain about single cardinality. So which means the association which we can find out with some relation between two items is called as cardinality. Okay, so it is all about creating rules. So whenever we discuss about association rules, it's nothing but how we will be creating some rules which govern the decision making. So here we are not making a decision, we are trying to generate some rules according to the data whatever you are having. So associate, that's why it's called as association rules or association rule learning or mining. And whenever you are creating some rules, if the number of items increases, then cardinality also increases accordingly. So whenever you're learning about this concept of association rule mining, you'll also be learning about some important metrics which are involved in this concept. So to measure the associations between thousands of data items, there are several metrics. The metrics are nothing but uh, whatever we have shown in the syllabus, that is support and confidence, which are the very important concepts or metrics in association rule mining. Okay, so this is how we learn about the working nature of this association rules, or how we generate association rules. Okay, so should make these things clear so that we can go for next slide. Yeah. So as already discussed, support and confidence are the two important metrics which are most widely applied in association rule mining. Apart from these two, support and confidence, we also have some other measures like lift is one important measure which will be learning with respect to association rule. But we are only talking about this support and confidence with respect to syllabus constraints which are part of our syllabus. Okay, so make this note, guys. Support and confidence questions will be asked for 2 marks in examination. So for short answer question from unit 2, you can expect these questions directly from unit 2. That is, what are support and what are confidence, what is association rule mining, are explained market basket analysis. So because in unit 2, we majorly discuss about a priori and FP growth for higher marks questions. For lower mark questions or short answer questions, you will be asked questions from support, confidence, the formulas linked to this, and market basket analysis. Okay. Yeah, talking about support metric, support is the frequency of A, or how frequently an item appears in the data set. So previously we have seen if A then B. So A is one item here and it is linked with other item B. However, the probability will be calculated. So if you want to identify such type of relationships in association rule mining, we will be initially learning about support metric. Support is a frequency of how frequently an item appears in a data set. So I'll be explaining about this in detail with example sample data set. So as of now, try to make a clear understanding of what is this support metric. So it is defined as the fraction of the transaction T that contains the item set X. If there are X data sets, then for transactions T, it can be written as support of X is equal to frequency of X divided by total number of transactions. This is a formula which can be used for association rule mining for calculation of support. Okay, so different authors give different orientations for this support. You can use any of that, and mostly we'll be following textbook related questions or formulas, which I'll be showing in the next slides. Okay, this is a general understanding of what actually is support. Next, talking about confidence. Confidence is a metric in association rule mining. After calculating the support, we actually go for this confidence. Okay, so confidence indicates how often the rule has been found to be true. So for example, we are having 5 rules generated with a sample data set. So from these 5 association rules, we need to select a best rule which can be used for some decision making. So for this picturization, we use confidence metrics, which indicates how often the rule has been found to be true. Because if you are taking some rules which are not so much so useful for you, then definitely it may not give some good results. Okay, so confidence is some important metrics which will be specifying or mentioning how important or how true a rule is can be applied for the data set, okay, or how often the items x and y occur together in data set when the occurrence of x is already given. So in examination point of view, guys, you need to write this definition properly, and also the formulae whatever it's given here. Confidence is equal to frequency of x comma y, that is two items which are brought together, divided by frequency of x. It is a ratio of the transaction that contains x and y, that is two items, to the number of records that contain x. Okay, so we'll be explaining about or understanding about this confidence and support in the example in the next slides. Okay, don't get confused about that. So types of association rule learning or mining. So you are, as I said, you'll be having three different types of association rules. Learning association rule. In the first one, in our syllabus we are given about a priori and FP growth, and apart from this, we're also having ECLAT is an algorithm which is about equivalence class transformation. Okay, so that is the abbreviation for this ECLAT, that is equivalent class transformation. So this is not part of our syllabus, but for your understanding, I'm just specified the different types of association rule minings. So apart from these three, we also have many different association rules, like STEM is one important algorithm, which is again part of this association rule mining. But in our syllabus, and a priori and FP growth are the most widely used association rule mining concepts. We are discussing about these two concepts. Okay, so whenever in examination you're answering about association rule mining, you need to explain about these two concepts. Okay, yeah. So let's get into the brief overview of those concepts or types of association rule mining. First one is a priori algorithm. A priori is a very, very important algorithm in complete unit 2. Most of the questions you get are nothing but from a priori algorithm only. Okay, so this algorithm uses frequent data sets to generate association rules. So the sentence is very clear, guys. It is saying that this algorithm uses frequent data sets to generate association rules. The goal is to generate some rules which are used to make some decision that can be done using your a priori algorithm. Okay, so it is designed to work on the databases that contain transactions. So it's a very simple picturization that a priori algorithm only works for transaction data sets. Okay, so every point here is having a clear meaning. Please try to look into that. So a priori algorithm is a major application for transaction data set only. Okay, yeah. This algorithm uses breadth first search and hash tree to calculate the item set efficiently. So if you want to, if you are having some n number of transaction data set, from that, if you want to generate, if you want to identify some proper item sets, we use a priori algorithm, and a priori algorithm tries to use BFS and also hash tree concepts for development of this a priori algorithm. Okay, so have a note of these points, guys. This will be very useful for you for answering your examination. Okay, so it is mainly used for market basket analysis. The main application of a priori algorithm is for transaction data set. The best example of transaction data set is market basket analysis. Okay, and it also helps to understand the products that can be bought together. It can also be used in the healthcare field to find drug reactions for patients. That is the next level application of a priori. The basic application is market basket analysis. Okay, so yeah. Okay, so these are the applications what we have discussed about association rule mining or learning. The most important application is market basket analysis, and also in healthcare we are having many applications of this association rule mining for generation of some frequently identified illnesses and all these things. Okay, Yeah. Now let's have a clear picture of what actually is an item set, and with this sample data set we'll be trying to understand what is support and what is confidence. Okay, so this is a sample data set of 5 transactions of some customers. So this is transaction 1 of one customer. So he is buying tea, cake and cool drink. In this is the behavior of customer 1. And customer 2, in his transaction he is taking tea, coffee and cool drink, both these 3 things. And customer 3 is taking eggs, tea and cool drink. And customer 4 is taking cake, milk and also eggs. So because everyone will be having their own requirement and their own taste, they'll be taking different items, but there are some commonalities or frequency of items in this which we need to observe. Okay, and customer 5 is taking 5 items, that is cake, coffee, cold drink, milk, and eggs. All 5 items which are linked to these 4 people. Okay, so now this is what we call it as an item set. Okay, so whenever a question is raised about what is an item set, explain about frequent item set. So you need to explain, take a small example of something like this, and you need to understand or make things clear about what is a data set. So here the items can be anything according to the requirement, but try to see that there is some link or there is some connection between these items. For example, tea and cake or eggs and tea. So there should be some commonality between the items whatever you are giving in the item set. Okay, yeah. Now let's try to understand the item set in clear. So in transaction 1, what it is showing? It is showing that a person is buying tea, cake and cold drink, right? So item set contains items like tea, cake and cold drink. So whenever you are explaining about item set, you need to write something like this. Like what is transaction 1 saying? What is transaction 2 saying? So it's very simple to just look into this and write here. But the next level, you need to explain about how frequently some items are being taken. Okay, yeah. So yeah, so this is again next concept is k item set, or called as n item set. So k indicates the number of item sets. So if k equal to 1, it is called as then k item set is item set 1. When k equal to 2, the item set is 2. So according to the value of k, there will be change in the values. Okay, so the next thing is frequent item set. So whenever we have discussed about uh, unit 2, we have the first concept is problem definition, that is the introduction to your association rules which we have discussed till now. Next one is frequent item set generation. So what actually is frequent item set? You can see all the concepts of unit 2 are linked to this same concept called as frequent item set. Okay, here you can see the representation of frequent item set or closed frequent item set. So let's try to understand in detail what is actually a frequent item set. Okay, so an item set is frequent if its support is the support value what we have already seen. There's a formula, right? Frequency of x by transactions t. That is called as support. So an item set is frequent if its support is no less than minimum support threshold. So minimum support is always supposed according to the choice. Okay. So support value can be directly taken by a user if it is not given. Sometimes in the problems, support value will be given. So you can select any minimum support value according to the dataset given to us. Okay. Yeah. So previously we have seen a formula for support. Now let's try to understand in detail how to calculate support and confidence in data mining. This concept is very important, guys, because the next class when we discuss about a priori algorithm, these two metrics are very important. If you're not clear with these support and confidence concepts, definitely you will struggle by for learning a priori and FP growth concepts, because all the association rule algorithms depend on these two metrics. Okay, so support of any item A is equal to number of transaction in which A appears by total number of transactions. For example, here if I take item or A as T, So in the previous data set, number of transactions in which T appears by total number of transactions. Okay. Similarly, confidence, that is equivalence relationship between A and B. That is A implies B. Okay, is equal to support of A union B by support of A. These are the formulas which we need to write in examination. Okay. Yeah. So in support, we talk about two important types of support, that is absolute support and relative support. Okay. So what actually is absolute support? The absolute number of transactions which contain an item set is called as absolute support. For example, so absolute support of T in the previous data set is equal to 3. Why it is 3? Because you can see T is uh, appeared in 3 transactions among the 5 transactions. Okay, you can find T in 3 transactions. Similarly, you can find cake also in 3 transactions, and you can see milk in 2 transactions. Cool drink, for example, the absolute support value of cool drink is 1, 2, 3, and 4. Let's check it's correct or not. Yeah, absolute support of cool drink is 4. So nothing but how many number of times a item has appeared in an transactions. That is what we call it as absolute support. Okay. Yeah. Support that if a person, so now now we are trying to calculate the probability of a person who is buying tea may also buy something called as cake. Suppose that if a person buy tea can also buy cake is equal to 1 by 5, that is 0.2. So how did we get this 1 by 5? So 5 is total number of transactions, 1 is how many times a person has purchased tea along with cake. Okay, let's see that. How many times a person has bought tea along with cake? Yeah, you can see in the first transaction only you're having tea and cake together. That's why the absolute support value is 1 by 5, because 5 is the number of transactions. In 5 transactions, tea and cake are brought together only one time. That is why it is called as 1 by 5, that is 0.2, that is 20%. Next, suppose that if a person buy tea also buy cool drink. Now let's see how many times tea and cool drink are brought together. 1, 2, and 3. You can see in 3 transactions they are brought together. So the answer is 3 by 5. Okay, so I hope this is making you all understand what actually is support. Support that if a person buy eggs can also buy cool drink. So how many times eggs and cool drink are brought together? In transaction 3, you can see eggs and cool drink are brought together, and also in transaction 5, you can see eggs and cool drink. Okay, this is how to calculate support for each and every value. Okay, and similarly, we can calculate support for all item set. So for all combinations, you need to calculate this support value. Okay. Okay. Next, we'll discuss about what actually is relative support. So, relative support is nothing but number of transactions which contains an item set relative to the total number of transactions. Okay. So the formula is total number of transactions containing an item set X by total number of transactions. So relative support of T is equal to 3 by 5. That is how many times T appeared in a complete data set. So it is nothing but similar to the previous concept only. Here we have calculated the number of times each item has repeated, but here we are trying to compare it with the total number of transactions. You get some value, right? Similarly, next one is confidence. Confidence is the probability that if a person buys an item A, then he will also buy an item B. So we have learned about this in the conditional probability concept of your Bayes theorem. So what is the chance that if a person A is doing something, may also do B, right? So confidence that if a person will buy tea, can also buy cake. So here previously we have got item as the support value as 0.2, right? That's 20%. So why we have taken 1 here? Because T and K occur together only in one transaction. Why we have taken 3 in the denominator? Because there are 3 transactions in which T is occurring. Okay, there is a small mistake here. It is not 0.2. This value is the support value here. 1 by 3 indicates 0.33, right? Yeah. So confidence that is the percent while by K also while by T is again both are same, right? 1 by 3. So likewise, we need to calculate confidence for each and every metric, and what is the likeliness of that item will be brought together. That is something which you need to understand. Okay. Yeah. This will be discussing in the next session. So I hope until now all these concepts are clear for everyone. So this is the conclusion for your unit 2 introduction, that is association rule mining. In next session, we'll be discussing about a priori algorithm, which is very, very important and very easy for us to learn. Okay. Yeah. So thank you all. You can leave the class.